Welcome to another episode of Brews and Eats with Badass Peeps. Now don't you ever be sad, lean on me when times are bad. When the day comes and you're down in a little trouble. We got Adam Daniel here from GB Layton. He's an amazing local artist. We're at Lake and Irving in Minneapolis, enjoying some amazing food and drinks. This is their fig rye. It's amazing. So let's start with you, Adam. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, my name's Adam Daniel. I am a professional musician here in the Twin Cities. I'm born and raised in Minnesota, and it's a beautiful place to be for music. There's several of the groups that I perform with and tour with, not only within the tri-state area, but also kind of expand internationally. First is GB Layton. Brian Layton is hands down one of the most prolific songwriters in Minnesota. I think you would agree.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate enough not only to call Brian Layton a boss of sorts, if you will, but a good friend.
Right.
Ken Valdez, who's an award-winning blues and rock musician. Kat Perkins, play with her as well. The list is going to go on for a while.
You know, though, you say all these powerhouse singers, and as a lead singer of a group, a singer-songwriter, I wouldn't be half of the musician I am on stage without the support like you on stage with me. And we've played together on stage before. So, I mean, I really think that the accolades should be directed at you as well, because the things, the way that you study before shows shines through on stage. The fact that people can come to a show and smile and laugh and have fun, and you exude that on stage, it's incredible. If you haven't seen any one of these singers, you need to go out and see one of these shows, because Adam makes it fun. You make it fun, and I think that's good. So, digging deep into your history of playing as a musician professionally, what was the worst moment, the worst entrepreneurial moment as a musician that you've ever had?
I have to first share this story with you. I have a recurring nightmare that happens. There's a YouTube clip out there of a young group of kids, and they put together this garage band to perform for a school-wide assembly or a talent show, if you will. And they learned, they're covering a Weezer song, and they all get up there, I don't know if you've seen this, and they're very meticulous in their playing, they're concentrating so hard, God bless their souls, and they're just giving it their all. And as they're getting into it and getting more comfortable with the song, the lead singer happens to be the keyboard player, and he's playing one hand and has the mic. Yeah. And he's about one line in, and when he pushes in the keyboard completely collapses. And falls to the ground, and his response does this. Yeah. To this, and there's one guy in back who slow claps, and finally, there's some people that join along and they give him encouragement. Thankfully, I do not use that type of keyboard stand because there's 2 bolts standing between you and utter embarrassment. Right. So what happened? Right. My personal most embarrassing moment is a band I'm in has a good friend of the band, and she sells designer clothing. Nothing designer names, but it's kind of edgy stage wear, and it fit really good for the project. And I decided to embrace that, and I took a couple of pair of pants and wore them and one of the shows. And I got to the show, and it was at the Medina, and we were pretty crushed for time. It was load in, sound check, and perform. And I went to go pick up my first piece of gear, and I bent down, and I completely split the back of my pants.
Rolling on the river, my pants no rip. My pants no rip.
Like waistband down, and it was it was in all its glory. It was just open. There's nothing I can.
Well, let's take a minute here and do a social here real quick. Today's episode is brought to you in part by Patreon. Listen, music lovers, if you're loving these episodes and you're loving what we're putting out there, head over to our Patreon channel where you can support each one of these episodes and make sure that these episodes keep rolling out. thanks for hanging out with us here with Adam Daniel. We'll get right back into the episode. Swinging into things, we just talked about your worst entrepreneurial musical situation. Your pants were ripped. I want to go a little farther back into that moment maybe as a kid or as an adult when you decided to take the next step and quit your day job. And this was your aha moment to become a musician.
For a long time, I was balancing retail management, day job, with trying to play 15 to 20 shows a month. And I would work a 7 to 4, go home, sleep. In the evening, I would do it all over again, and just a cycle. And it was unhealthy. It wasn't me being faithful to that opportunity. And I think that I was saying no to some opportunities, not many, but it was bothering me and eating at me that I wasn't being able to say yes to more things that came across my plate.
I'm a big believer in educating yourself on the job. I feel like there's no better industry than the art industry, than the music industry to learn than on the job. And I know that some of us went to school to learn the business side of that. But I'll tell you what, if you're out there and you're trying to become a musician, an artist, a comedian, an actor, there's no better way to become what you want than just doing it. In my research with you and knowing you so well, I know you went to school for a lot of years to become a musician.
Sure.
So, and we talked about this briefly, but I want you to talk about it a little bit more. If you were to go back and talk to yourself before going into music school, music business school, by the way, this is like where you learn the business of becoming a musician, would you talk yourself out of it?
No, I would have told myself that just like learning your trait with your voice or your abilities, it's a muscle as much as the confidence to interact with someone and the confidence to present yourself. It's all a muscle, and the more you use that muscle and strengthen that, the stronger it becomes.
Right. In my opinion, being on the other side of it, being one that is not a studied musician in terms of going to school, being having a business major in it, I don't feel like my career, this is a one-sided opinion, I don't feel like my career has been impacted by my lack of schooling for it. And so I would say this is 2 examples of how you can do it in the music industry. You can, if you're a person that learns best in that study situation, do it. Go for it. If you're not that kind of person, if you're a go just do it kind of person, this is a person who doesn't read instructions to set up a Kia table, by the way. So if you're that person, don't go to school. Honestly, that's my opinion, and your parents will shoot me for it, but whatever, Do you planned your socks out?
Yeah. Well, we talked about socks, and I thought maybe that you would ask about what I'm currently wearing.
I should ask about that. It's that time where we're going to get into the lightning round, and I'm going to ask some questions that I want you just right off the top of your head, the first thing that comes to your gut, just spew it out. It's really important that in this particular round that you don't think too hard about it. Okay? In the beginning, what was holding you back from becoming a musician?
Confidence, and that the financial piece was going to be there. Confidence that I was prepared to play that many shows. Confidence that I could interact and exchange conversation and business with the venues.
Yeah, confidence you could earn money to feed you and your wife.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the biggest one.
That's still a thing. It's still a thing with a lot of musicians. I mean, being self-employed at any level, there is always that fear.
Right.
Is the financial piece going to be there?
During your career, in the beginning, currently, maybe you've read it, what's the best piece of advice you've gotten about being an entrepreneur?
My mother said something that stuck with me forever, and it's probably more insightful than she ever realized, and it was bloom where you're planted.
John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneur on Fire says, focus. Follow one course until success. And I think that is along the same lines as what your mother is saying.
Thank you.
Wow.
Buttermilk chicken sandwich.
It's the buttermilk chicken sandwich. It's incredible.
Yeah, enjoy.
Wow. Cheers, dude.
Cheers to you.
What's a personal habit that contributes to your success daily?
Daily hustle. And what I mean by that is I like to keep my ears and my eyes open to everything going on in the musical community. If there's a new venue, that I don't know about. I want to know, are they booking music? Is it acoustic? Is it electric? Is it full band? Who the band's going in there? What's the demographic that they're focusing on? If there's a booking agent, who the people underneath the booking agent are? If there's a band that I don't know about who the members of the band are, they connect with any other bands. I could go on. And it's, I want to know. I want to soak that in. I want to know the opportunities that I'm missing. I also want to know if I can create any opportunities out of those areas.
What are you currently listening to? What is in your CD player right now?
Gabe Dixon, Nathan Angelo, and Andrew Ripp.
You've stumped me. I have no
All three of them?
All three.
All right. They are all musicians in the same wheelhouse. Just feel-good songwriting, and the songs are performed behind the piano.
The last question of the lightning round. If you could recommend a book or an online resource to our viewers, what would it be and why?
A couple months back, I was listening to an interview, and the name of the person escapes me. But the quote that came out of the interview that was profound to me was, the closer you become to the Creator, the more creative you become. Within the Bible, the book of Psalms is the most romantic, poetic, and completely filled with lyricism book out there. By revisiting that and reconnecting with that, I get fueled.
I really appreciate you being here, and let us know how we can connect with you.
AdamDanielMusic.com. You can find me on my artist page on Facebook, and that's by searching Adam Daniel Music, and also find me on Instagram under the username CallMeAdamDaniel.
I appreciate you coming to hang out with us here on Brews and Eats with Badass Peeps.
Right on.
You, my friend, are a badass peep, and if you get an opportunity to hang out with this guy, I highly recommend that you do it. This is another episode of Brews and Eats with Badass Peeps. My name is Judd Haley. This is Adam Daniel. We'll catch you on another episode.
Cheers.
On my way.